Where is my other? Oh man, is that all the stuff I have up? All right, what's up, guys? I'm just chilling here, setting up everything for the stream while people join in. All right, let's figure out what game. I mean, I know what game I'm going to be watching right now. Going to be watching the Tennessee A&M game because I think, again, like A&M needs this win. They lose this game, it's almost over for them. So that is where we are going right now. I'm charging my headset as well, so I might need to. Let me make sure my chat is working. Holy, what? A&M up 14-3? Wow. Look at that. They play. I mean, let's say they're playing Tennessee right now. That's number one. Then they go to number 3, 5, 7, and 2. Yikes. But holy cow, they're about to win the series against Tennessee. Man, that is crazy. I gotta make sure this is working. I cannot believe that Tennessee's up. Or Tennessee's down that big. Well, we're going to spin off that game because, I mean, unless I hear otherwise, it's kind of over. Let's see which games we're looking at. I mean, how about Vandy taking the series against Florida? Florida now 1-10 in the SEC. No, not that one. Let's go to Auburn, Alabama. All All right, now let's look at the scores for the day. Marshall almost swept Southern Miss. They almost swept them. Vandy just went in a 3-2 game, and it's crazy in this offensive environment to have. Vandy had 5 hits. Vandy had 5 hits and won the game. Florida had 9. And I wonder, I didn't watch the game, but that's the kind of box score that makes me think bad base running decisions, all stuff like that. One of you guys like Canes or Buck, if you're in here, send me a DM to make sure, or say something in the chat. I don't know if my chat's working because it's not updated from last night. All right, so Mississippi State, what went on with them today? I'm seeing some tweets that aren't sounding great for Mississippi State. Ole Miss took the series against Kentucky in Lexington. And Kentucky's good, man. Kentucky's good. Texas beat Georgia earlier today. And again, this is, everyone's been waiting to see, like, Georgia. What does Georgia look like? And they still hit the ball okay. They got 8 hits, but they just, they're not pounding their opponent this weekend. They're getting shut down offensively, and their pitching staff is doing what their pitching staff's done all year, like give up 6 or 7 runs, right? 7 or 8 runs. And the offense has been able to carry that for the whole year pretty much, but against Texas, just not able to do it. I can't believe the A&M game. A&M wins 9-3 game 2, and now they're up 14-3. LSU with the sweep. Wake Forest today, 12-0 Florida State. Holy cow. And again, like let's and this is why I think let me make sure none of you got DM. If you're writing stuff in the chat, DM me on X, please, because I'm gonna have to reset the stream maybe if I get a DM, because I'm not seeing any of your chats. Tennessee's getting demolished. Holy cow. What games are you guys? One of you guys DM me on X, because I can't see the chat. And I have to know at least one of you guys are in here. Auburn up 6-3 right now. All right, so if you're in there right now, where I'm watching Auburn, Alabama. Obviously, any questions you guys have, let me know. I know I showed up a little bit early today, so. Man, A&M, what is it, 15? No, 14-2. Holy cow. Dang, so Miami was supposed to have a doubleheader today. And one of Miami's broadcasters is basically saying that allegedly Pitt moved the second game today to Sunday, so that because their best reliever pitched today. So if he pitched, in game one of a doubleheader, he can't pitch in game two. And again, that's just basically because it's really bad idea for the arm to go, get hot, pitch, cool off, and then do that again later in the day. And so they want him Miami's guy is alleging that Pitt moved it. There's no rain expected, that it would have to be moved. And maybe getting Sorrell back for A&M. I mean, that just added that one bat back that they've been missing, and maybe it's just what they needed. Georgia Tech with a big series win over Stanford. Chance for the sweep tomorrow. And a lot of the guys I played with, we were texting them during the game, and it's funny. It was basically the text was this: our offense has been this good for 6 years. Our offense has been, relatively speaking, in this ballpark for 6 years, and the only difference is the pitching is adequate this year. The pitching is middle of the pack in the ACC, and for the last 3 or 4 years, that's all former players and guys that I played with. All we talk about with Georgia Tech is that The last 4 years, if the pitching staff was just average, it would have been, a regional host team every year. That's just how it would. I mean, the numbers that it just track. They're a regional host, and that's 3 or 4 years where, you got a chance to get back to Omaha realistically as a host, right? Because the most of the hosts make up most of it. And so that's what we were talking about. Is it's like, man, this is what, like, again, because there's still some things with pitching with the pitching when you're like, you get frustrated about or whatever. And I do think Georgia Tech, like we've talked about, like they're missing, if they're going to use Payton and Patel the way they are, which is fine. It makes a lot of sense. You don't have that. You do not have that guy at the end of a game in a one-run game in the 9th inning that you feel like it's over. You don't. And again, that's fine because just with how the starting rotation maps out, you need Payton and Patel. You need Payton and Patel because your Saturday and Sunday guys just can't go. They can't go deep. But that's where Georgia Tech's pitching staff is. It's middle of the pack. It's average in the ACC, but like that's a massive difference between what it's been the last 3 or 4 years. It was like, worst in the league almost every year. And so then, like, the offense, even having an elite offense, really didn't do much. It didn't move the needle too much. That's why you didn't see a lot of, big win seasons, even though you're like, how are we not winning games? Because the pitching was so bad. Tech 2 out of 3, huge though. Need a sweep tomorrow. LFG. Yeah. Yeah, and again, like this is Tech's. What makes it really tough for Georgia Tech to sweep a team, and they did it against Notre Dame. They should have done it against Pitt, but I'm just saying this was what makes it different, or what makes it difficult, is that when you have to throw, if you're going to have a chance to sweep, that means you win game 1, game 2, and you're always going to prioritize winning the series over, like, well, let's save Payton here so we can have him for Sunday. You're always going to prioritize winning the series. So when you have a chance to win game 2, you do what you have to do to win it, because then you win every series, you're gonna be a national seed. And so if they're gonna sweep a team, that means they've used Patel one day and they've used Payton the next day, or vice versa. So on Sunday, you're gonna have to so far has been your worst starter. He averages 2 2.2 3 innings a start. So now you have 6 innings to cover without your 2 top dogs, because Payton and Patel are going to throw so many pitches they can't pitch. Like Patel threw, I think around 70 on Friday. Like he's in college baseball, he's not going to pitch on Sunday. He's not going to pitch. You may see that at the big league level, but you're not going to see that anywhere else. And so that's what makes it tough for Tech to sweep, unless their offense really carries the day. And again, like against Pitt, offense put up 10, 11 runs on Sunday, but pitching gave up 12 against Pitt. So again, that's the tough thing for Georgia Tech, is can the offense outscore the other offense? Like, that's going to be the game on Sunday, generally speaking, unless you have one of those outlier type games. And I do think you liked what you saw from Brady Jones for the most part today. I mean, he still doesn't have great command. He does not know where the ball's going. But at least today, when he missed, it was still in the strike zone sometimes. I'll also say, like, it's pretty incredible if you think about it, that in the middle of that Georgia Tech lineup, like the best offense in the country, from batting average wise, doubles, tops in slugging, tops in runs scored, in the middle of that lineup, and the 3-4 hitters are freshmen. Like, I don't know. No one's talking about that. No one is talking about that. I don't know why, but like if you have a team who after this weekend, Georgia Tech will probably move into the teens. They'll definitely move into the teens because they played Clemson super close and realistically could have won all 3 games. And the question was, is Georgia Tech going to respond? Are they going to get back on show what they've been doing all year? Really, they played pretty well against Clemson. They just got beat. But are they going to keep playing well all year? Or are they going to go on a little cold stretch? And so I think you're going to see a pretty big jump for Georgia Tech, even if they lose tomorrow, because they played Clemson so close. And Clemson, again, is still undefeated in series in the ACC after today. So you're gonna see Georgia Tech go up big time in the rankings. Oh yeah, what was I looking for? Why is it showing the old chat? I don't know, Canes. I don't know. Dude, I'm not kidding. I've been here for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and like no one was saying anything. It was like that's never happened on my streams for like 6 months, 7 or 8 months. Like usually I turn my stream on, and within 5 minutes, within a minute, someone's already typing, which is really cool. And I don't thank you guys enough for like how dedicated you are to the stream. Like I actually really appreciate it, because like you guys are the people that when who knows how long from now we have way more people watching this, like you guys will be the OGs, and you guys are the ones that like continually boost the viewership because you guys are always in the stream. So I really appreciate that. I'm trying to see if the stats for Georgia Tech got updated. I'm at a wedding, just came in to say hello and have a good night, brother. All right, Canes. Later, man. Have a good one. Yeah, I think it's crazy that there's no one in the national baseball media that's talking about the fact that in the middle of Georgia Tech's top in the country offense are 2 freshmen. And I don't know, no one's talking about how the entire offense is returning next year except for Lodi's. Which again, I mean it's a big loss, but again, like the rest of the lineup is coming back. And also how well this team has performed when it's been without Kent Schmidt for 9 games, who is still leading their team in average, was leading the team in average at the time, and was tops on the team in doubles. I mean, he's got 11 doubles in 21 games. Curse has 12 and 30. Burris has 16 and 30. Lodi's has 16 and 30. So Kent Schmidt was like right on pace with that to get like, he was on pace, quite frankly, to have like 17 or 18 doubles. So think about how much better even this offense will be when he returns. And the guys that have had to fill in have been pretty good. You know, Will Baker's hit 250. He hasn't come in and just like, he's hit 3 doubles and a home run. You know, Giesler looks like he's getting back to himself. He looked good today. So, I mean, that offense is legit, man, and it's full of depth. Full of depth. They hadn't updated the stats, though, so I'm waiting to see. I wanted to see what some of those guys were hitting after today and talk about it. Auburn still controlling the game. Top of the sixth, they're up 6-3. Where's my boy Zach at? All right, let's scroll through baseball Twitter here. How about Kansas baseball, man? I'm telling you guys, right? Like I said, Zach, Dan Fitzgerald will not be the head coach at Kansas next year. He will not be the coach at Kansas. Skylar Meade. Let's see what Troy did tonight before I say this, because someone might go, well, they won. All right. So Troy beats Old Dominion. And again, Old Dominion's good, like really good pitching. They held Troy to 4 runs, but Troy's pitching held Old Dominion to 3. So it's almost 100% certainty that I say this, that Skylar Meade will not be the head coach at Troy next year. And Dan Fitzgerald will not be the head coach at Kansas next year. And in particular, Fitzgerald, he's the probably higher candidate. And the only reason being he's just been around a little bit longer. And he's, again, he was an amazing assistant at DBU, amazing assistant at LSU. Won the national championship there. And then some would say, there are definitely some who would say it's easier to win at Troy than it is at Kansas. That's a legitimate, and probably a true thing, that Troy is in, obviously it's in the heart of the Southeast, very easy to recruit from Troy into Atlanta. And again, there's just so much talent in the state of Alabama, state of Georgia, the panhandle of Florida, that Troy really doesn't even have to go out and get too many guys. They don't have to get guys anywhere else. And then they've done a great job in the portal. But at Kansas is definitely a harder sell than Troy in my mind. Even with Troy being, a mid-major. That's just the reality in baseball, in baseball in particular. So I think Fitzgerald's probably the number one candidate. Skylar Meade is way up there as well, though, because he's just gotten to Troy and just, again, a program that's been solid, but he got there and they're just, again, they're going to be inside the top 20 after this week. Big game from Wake, instant classic from UNC Duke. How about Sully getting ejected? A&M may have had a season-changing series. Yeah, seriously, big. It's been a huge weekend. Wake dominating Florida State, and again, I told you guys, I could not believe that they just dropped Wake Forest out of the top 25. That made no sense to me. Sure, drop them into the number 23 or something, but dropping them out of the top 25, because in reality, looking at that team, you're they're going to be fine at the end of the year. They're going to be fine. And yeah, I tried to recap today. Did I miss anything? No, I think you got it all, man. But let's say Wake beats Florida State tomorrow. Let's say Wake beats the number one team in the ACC. Well, now it looks, from the rankings perspective, it looks like a way worse loss for Florida State than it really is. Wake Forest is a legit top 15 team, I think. I know, Zach, you don't think as much with how they played against Miami, but I'm just saying, from a pure team talent perspective, it's a top 15 team. And so it's going to hurt Florida State more than it should. Wake Forest is going to have to like bounce back into the top 25 when they should never have been out of the top 25. So that was big. I mean, again, like Wake has to beat Florida State tomorrow, but it's just, again, it's like, that's how good Wake is. They just 12-0'd Florida State. Yeah, Duke, UNC. I mean, both of those clubs have. I'm still a little bit. I'm waiting for UNC to kind of show. I mean, they were number 3 or number 4 preseason. I'm waiting for UNC to show some offensive dominance. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to see if they can click offensively. And then I didn't see Sully getting ejected, Zach. What did he get ejected on? And then A&M, Wake's offense is still scary. I don't know if they have the pitching of years past. I'm not saying they have the pitching of years past. That's for sure. Because if they had the pitching of years past, they'd be a top 5 team, right? But they have this, that Wake is slowly becoming, and not slowly, but I mean they've, in the last 6 or 7 years, they've really turned into like a big time offense program as well. Like the offense at Wake is typically tops in the ACC. Especially over the last like 4 or 5 years. And they don't, again, with that kind of an offense, you don't need like some of the best pitching in college baseball. You just need, again, the Wake's pitching is probably better than Georgia Tech's, and Georgia Tech's middle of the pack. So Wake's like near the front end or like the bottom maybe of the top third of the ACC. So like that's, at the end of the day, that's a top 15 team. You know, there's no other way to look at it. I think it was just frustration by Sully trying to light a spark in his team. Yeah, I mean, it is mind-boggling, and again, just goes to show how much of a gauntlet the SEC schedule is. But I mean, it's unbelievable that Florida is going to be 1-10. Or sorry, 1-10. I mean, it's insane. It's insane with how talented they are. And then A&M. Yeah, I mean, I think it could be Zach. I mean, it's one thing if you steal a series, right? If you somehow you found a way, you split with them the first 2 games, then game 3, Tennessee makes like 3 errors in the 8th and you win. That's stealing a series, right? That's the other team beating themselves so bad that you win. But they're, this doubleheader today, and I think a doubleheader is in their favor. I think it makes it to where Tennessee can't use their bullpen maybe the way they typically would, because you can't throw a guy twice if you're playing a doubleheader. So it was the best situation for A&M because it just made it to where Tennessee had to be out of their rhythm that had made them just unbeatable. It just changed. It was some change that I think kind of gave A&M the edge they needed. But their offense has looked amazing. So maybe the offense is back. We'll have to see. But again, they still got a long way to go. Even if they, with 3 wins now, I think in the SEC at 3-9, 3-9 is a lot better than 1-9. Will be interesting to see if A&M can carry the momentum into this week, playing South Carolina at home. Yeah, and I think this is the case. I think this series will determine A&M's against South Carolina will determine A&M's future. And if they win the series, watch out the rest of the SEC, right? Because a team with that much talent gets a couple series wins in a row under their belt, they're going to feel like they're back 100%. If they lose against South Carolina, their season's over. Because then the mentality in the clubhouse is going to be, Oh man, I thought we had figured it out. I thought we figured it out. And then it's going to be, again, you're back to square one, and you're facing four of the remaining five are in the top 7 in the country, right? Like you're going to lose one or two of those series at minimum. At minimum. So this series, the series against South Carolina for them is paramount. And again, I don't think it's I don't think at the end of the season they're going to be like playing 500 ball the rest of the way. It's either they beat South Carolina and they just maybe not run the table, but they just kind of dominate the remaining part of the season and surprise people, or they lose to South Carolina and they just like are terrible the rest of the year. I don't see a middle of the pack finish for them. It's either like bottom. They're either in the bottom of the SEC or they're in the top 4. And that sounds crazy right now, but that's where I see their seasons ending up. And LSU with the sweep of Oklahoma, right? So LSU and Texas now are kind of looking like they may move into the number 1 and number 2 slots. And Arkansas just dominating Missouri. Very impressed with Texas pitching this weekend. Yeah, it's it's been interesting to see just how Georgia's how do you keep Georgia's offense at bay? And to me, it's like Texas is just like going right at them, going for the strikeout. Like they're not messing. They're doing a great job of executing like 0-2 strikeout pitches, 1-2 strikeout pitches. They're just getting a lot of strikeouts. And Arkansas number 1, assuming they sweep Missouri. Yeah. But you know what? Like LSU sweeping Oklahoma is going to jump them big time because Oklahoma's top 10 number 10 team in the country, and LSU swept them. So LSU is going to jump. Obviously, Georgia is going to fall. Texas is going to move into the top 3. Let me see the rest of the rankings here. Florida State. Especially if Texas sweeps tomorrow. Like, if Texas sweeps tomorrow, sweeping the number 3 team in the country, that's all right. Haley fell asleep. I'm back, boys. What's up, Dust? Just you can't lay that. You can't lay in the bed just with your phone out while she's trying to sleep, or Dusty. I want your. Did you hear my thoughts on Georgia Tech this year? Zach, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was talking about Georgia Tech, and I was saying one of the things that kind of blows my mind is that, and no one's talking about it, but like in the middle of this, like best offense in the country at Georgia Tech as far as batting average, like hits, doubles, slugging percentage, like in the middle of this lineup are 2 freshmen, Caleb Daniel and Alex Hernandez? Like, why is no one talking about like the middle of this Georgia Tech offense are 2 freshmen, and then a sophomore, Drew Burris, which is everyone. No one needs to know who. No one needs to know or know where he is. But it's pretty insane. And then also, you like think about how crazy it is that how close Georgia Tech played Clemson. They were without their leading hitter, Kent Schmidt, and also who was at the time, I believe when he was got the staph infection, he was leading the team in doubles. So you had your best hitter with the most doubles go down. He's been out for 9 games, and you're still putting up crazy amount of runs. Zach, if I had to guess 1, Arkansas, 2, Tennessee, 3, Texas, 4, LSU, 5, FSU, Clemson. But FSU's number 4. And D1 baseball is pretty good about this. Like if FSU wins tomorrow, they won't let someone jump FSU unless they jump to number 3. But FSU won't get moved back to number 5. But yeah, Clemson. I mean, Clemson's going to be. Maybe Clemson moves up too. Who's Clemson playing again? Cal, yeah. Which again, it's not like an amazing series win, but Cal's been middle of the pack. Do you see them moving Payton or Patel into the rotation, or just keeping them in the bullpen? They're keeping them in the bullpen at this point in the season. If they haven't moved either one of them, I don't think they will. And I said, like, the weakness of this team is, and why it's difficult for Georgia Tech to sweep, is if you have to use Patel or Payton on Friday, you're always going to, first of all, you're always going to prioritize winning on Friday. And then you're always going to prioritize winning the series. So you're going to throw your go-to guys to win a series. Because if you win every series, you're 20-10 and you're a national seed. And so it's hard for Georgia Tech to sweep because, well, they got to throw Patel on Friday. And he throws so many pitches, he can't pitch the rest of the weekend. And then they got to throw Payton on Saturday to secure the series win, which means on Sunday you're throwing Riley Stanford, who's averaged probably less than 3 innings per start. But let's just go with 3. That means you have to cover 7 innings without your 2 top dogs. And it's a pretty decent fall off from Payton and Patel to the next tier of Georgia Tech relievers. So on Sunday, it's just like it's an offensive battle. Like you just got to hope the offense can put up enough runs because, barring an outlier kind of event, on Sunday you're probably giving up 7 runs, at least. Hernandez in range for freshman of the year. Yeah, definitely, 100%. Payton gonna move to Roto for sure. I don't know, dude. I don't know if they're going to, because I think it thins out like this, and this is why. With the way the bullpen is set up right now, and the way the pitching is gone, you're pretty sure you can win 2 games a weekend. You're pretty sure you can win 2 games a weekend. And that's what they've done so far. If you move Payton to the rotation on Sunday, now you're weaker across 2 games. Whereas with Payton in the bullpen, you're stronger across 2 games. So with Payton on Sunday, yeah, you're better on Sunday, but you're probably worse across because if for some reason Payton can't go deep on Sunday, you're having to throw significantly less talented reliever or less productive relievers is a better way to say it. So I just think you're stronger. I think you're stronger as a team with Payton in the bullpen. Dude, these next 3 midweek games for y'all against Auburn, Georgia, and Auburn are going to be huge for RPI and possible hosting. 100%, Zach. That's a good point, too. That's a good point. You got Auburn, who's, again, beating Alabama right now in the 7th, who's looking good. And then Georgia, right? You get 3, and I don't think Tech has lost in the midweek yet. It's funny because all the things you see on the Georgia Tech baseball Twitter, when they're like, "This is the best start in ACC play since 2013," or "This is the best start to midweek game since 2011," or it's like, "This is the best overall record start to the year since 2011 and 2013," and it's all the years that me and Dusty were there. That was the last. That was the last time. Those were the last years that Tech got off to a start like this in the season. And that's kind of crazy to think about, right? It's like this year for Georgia Tech, which is like they're playing unbelievable, is like kind of what they're playing so well, is what anyone who played at Tech would say about this team right now. But like this was like the norm. It's funny, like it was like the norm 12 years ago that they looked like this every year, and again, that's Danny Hall. The rest of the schedule is set up for y'all to host and a good run in the ACC tournament. Yeah, I mean, and again, I think we're gonna play some teams who are really starting to play well, like Duke. Virginia's playing better, so it's not a cakewalk to the finish for us, but it's definitely one of the more fair finishes to the year all across the ACC. Virginia Tech tied up the series against Notre Dame. North Carolina just barely snuck out a series win against Duke, but man, Duke looks good too. Duke's playing really well. If Brady Jones can keep getting better, and he is, you're right. Keep Peyton in the pen. Yeah, and I'm not even banking on, I don't know. To me, Dusty, it's hard for me to say he's getting better. It's like, to my eye, when I watch, it just seems like he's getting luckier. Like when he is missing his spot, it's going into the zone, versus like when he misses a spot, it's not in the zone. And it seemed like he was still hit guys, walk guys. But I mean, he went deep. You can say that he went his deepest outing of the year. So if y'all would have swept Marshall and won the series against Clemson, we would be talking about a possible national seed. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't even think with Marshall. I don't even think the Marshall thing matters. If we beat Clemson in the series, and then we do what we did this weekend against Stanford, we're like in the top 10 for sure. We're in the top 10, and we're national seed contention, right? At that point, think about this: 2018 Tech didn't sweep any team, but took 2 of 3 from everyone. Number 2 national seed. Yeah. Yep, 2 of 3 from everyone. That's, like I said, like you just win every series, and so with the way Georgia Tech's pitching is set up right now, you're really strong for 2 games, and then on Sunday it's just like, hope we can get a win. That's what it is. So I think that's better than, we're really sure we can win 1 because we have good starter or good enough starter in our good bullpen arm that can go the distance. But the other 2 games, you may feel that way about the starter, but you don't feel that way about any of the relievers that will come in. So there's way more volatility in moving Peyton to the Sunday starter. There's way more volatility and way more uncertainty. Y'all are sitting at number 12 RPI and 44 strength of schedule. Just got to take care of business the rest of the way. Yeah, for real. You're right. I mean, you're right, Zach. Like we're in very good position. Very good position. And again, if you get a sweep tomorrow, I mean, you're in really good shape. And again, you got, like, I hate to say it, but like you got Miami, who's really not playing well. Who's, with the way Tex played, and I mean, you're looking at that as a potential sweep right now. Ooh, and Alabama's tightening this game up. Now it's 7-5. Auburn 7-5 in the top of the seventh. Big 2-out hit. And also, Brady Jones never played travel baseball. Georgia State found him while scouting other guys. Like, you mean he like just pitching in a high school team and they were watching it like a high school game and they saw him? I think he's learning how to compete. He was basically playing not whole. Well, that's actually a really encouraging sign then, So that's a good point, Dust. Like, if you know that, okay, well, maybe he isn't, because again, in my mind, I don't know that about him. I just think this guy's been pitching forever, and like at this point, if he doesn't know where it's going, it's just like if he has a good outing, it's a luck out. It's luck. It's not development. Because those guys that, if you can't throw, if you have his type command as a older guy in college, it's just you're never going to find it. You're never going to find command. But if he's very raw in the sense that he didn't play travel ball, he didn't play, hundreds and hundreds of games that these other guys did, then maybe there's still room for development. I think I've adopted Kansas as my team. Nice. I'm going to go get my headphones real quick. I've been charging them. I'm serious. They were watching another player and stumbled across him. I believe you, dude. I'm just saying, if he didn't play travel ball, he had to have. They had to have seen him at a high school game, right? They were like watching one of their commits or something in a high school game and saw him. Virginia NC State series is tied. And again, they're both in like middle of the pack right now in the ACC. They're both like 500. I think I've told you this. No, I don't know, dude. It doesn't sound familiar. I don't remember you telling me this. That's the only thing about doing these streams late at night is that my contacts, or not, I guess it's not, it's like 10:30. I'm saying late at night, but my contacts are so dry at this point of the day. I just gotta put some eye drops in before I run down here. So NC State, Virginia are series tied, but both teams are kind of like, Virginia's playing better now. NC State's kind of playing pretty well. And again, both teams on Georgia Tech's schedule. And again, I think with the way Georgia Tech's played so far, these are series wins, right? Just from what we've seen so far. Like, Georgia Tech should take 2 of 3 from Virginia. Georgia Tech should take 2 of 3 from NC State. But one of these two teams will probably really start getting hot, NC State and Virginia. That's just, again, they're two very well coached teams, two very like veteran head coach teams. Like, one of these two teams are gonna get hot, and then the other one I think will kind of be middle of the pack, make the NCAA tournament, make the ACC tournament, and get to a regional, and then who knows what happens. So we could have played Pitt today, but they wanted to play tomorrow so they could have their top reliever available. Yeah, I read that, Zach, earlier. Actually, like, one of the first things I talked about in the stream when no one was in here. And I basically, like, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, like, that happens, man. Like, I've been in the dugout when it's like let's bang this game. We don't. It's not the 5th inning yet. Like, bang the game. And and you've been across the dugout, you've been across from the team that does it to you as well. It's like, wait, like what? Why can't we play today? There's no rain. It's not going to rain for like 5 hours. Why can't we play? No, it's there. There's new report. Weather's coming in. We gotta move it. Pirates and Yankees play today, 5 minutes away from Pitt's field. Yeah, and Pitt's turf. Like Pitt's turf. So like it's got to rain pretty bad to not be able to play. Like that's one of the beauties of turf is that you can play on it when it rains. At some point on grass and dirt, the dirt in the outfield becomes too soggy to run in without risking tearing your groin, and the dirt in the infield gets so wet you could do the same thing and you're going to slip and you can't play the game. It's the integrity of the game is broken. That's what people don't understand. That's why there's weather delays, because the playing surface and the playing environment becomes so broken up that the integrity of the game is no longer there. That's why even if you think weather delays are stupid, they should just play all through. Who cares? Doesn't matter. It's because the integrity of the game is no longer there when you're playing in an environment that's that ridiculous. Kendall Rogers just tweeted out there will be a new #1 Monday. Ooh, let's go look. Kendall Rogers getting spicy. You know what's crazy? What's crazy is that Kendall Rogers has still not made a Georgia Tech baseball head coach like hot board. And to me, there's two things you can think of that. There's one is that one of them is that he's hearing that like maybe there won't be a search, right? And he's just waiting for Georgia Tech to announce James Ramsey or whatever. The other reason that he wouldn't have posted it right now is because he's doing it out of respect for Danny Hall and maybe a few others. Right, letting him have his moment, like letting him have a couple weeks of the season to get away from the retirement announcement before posting like, who's the next head coach at Georgia Tech? Yeah, I did it. But like dude, like this is the funny thing is like it's funny how like what you guys see in that clip versus what I do. Like you guys see these two like highly ranked major league prospects who like should be evenly matched. But what I see is like a high school kid who never went through the grind of college baseball and what it means to play like for your job and play with that pressure of like you may get benched against a college guy who dominated college baseball. So like there's no question in my mind if you would ask me, right, Chase Burns versus Max Clark, who wins the battle, I'd be like Chase Burns. Right? It's just like, and that's not to say Max Clark won't get there, but he's younger. I mean, Chase Burns has elite stuff and he's got like 3 years or 4 years of experience over him, and 3 of those years being at the highest level of college baseball, right? Like he's just going to be way more advanced than Clark is at this point. I just got your baseball 505. What's up, man? All my money is on James Ramsey. That's probably a good bet, I would think. But I mean, again, it's nothing's been announced yet, right? So like who knows what's going on? What are we talking about? We're just talking about college baseball. We're just checking scores. I'm watching the Alabama Auburn game right now, so we're kind of watching that as a stream. If you want to pull it up, and just talking through the game. But we're also talking about just like current state of college baseball and what's going on. But Skylar Meade or Dan Fitzgerald would make a lot of sense at Georgia Tech. Yeah, there's no question, right? I mean, if you're an AD that wants to, if you want to go to an interview process, like those two guys are probably on the list, right? Those two are definitely on the list. So Dusty just sent me this tweet. I'm going to stream it for you guys. This happened in a big league game. Watch the... let me turn this music down. Watch the right fielder after he misses a ground ball.
And he makes contact and laces another one.
He jogs. He's just jogging.
And the merry-go-round starts to the Brewers. They unload the bases as Frelick heads to third and is in there standing.
Hilarious. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. High A ball versus elite college baseball. Should Max Clark have gone to college? I think he signed for like $7 or $8 million, so I think he probably should have signed. But I will say it's very difficult for high school hitters, even who are drafted third overall, I think as he was, to end up being special in the big leagues. Like it's very rare. Here's the deal. If they're going to hire a mid-major, they're going to hire JR. So Dusty, what you're saying is if they're going to hire a mid-major head coach, they would just hire James Ramsey. If it's a true nationwide search, it's game on. So Dusty, you don't think Dan Fitzgerald would be someone they would be interested in? Pitching coach at LSU when they won the national championship, pitching coach at DBU before that for like 11 years and helped build that program into what it is today. And then what he's doing at Kansas right now. That's why MLB is unwatchable. What do you think Sully, Tony V, Link Jarrett would have done? Man, I would have. I mean, that guy. I'll tell you what I would. If I ever saw that, you're out. Like get on the bench. Root for someone who's going to play hard today. I have no doubt Clark will be a good big leaguer. Just needs a lot of time in the minors. Tigers have a good track record of developing high school players. No, and Zach, when I looked at his numbers on stream a couple days ago, or maybe it was off stream, but like for a young guy, he's done very well. But has he been third overall pick type performance? Not yet. But he's doing fine. He's doing good. Again, when you're drafted in the top 5 picks, you're looked at as someone who will be a future big league all-star, like consistent big league all-star, like a guy who contends for being an all-star every year. So that's a big difference from like a guy who's like decent in the big leagues. But again, with young hitters, as long as he's performing pretty well, like that's very encouraging because most of them struggle mightily for a while, and then a lot of them never figure it out. All right. Auburn takes it to the bottom of the 8th, up 7-5. Dusty, is what you're saying? Like, so you think if like Skylar Meade from Troy, if that was like their guy, they're just going to hire James? Book it now. Tigers will trade him, and he will never pan out. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say that, Dusty, but that's kind of the vibe I get as well. Guys like him, and just like his the way he is on social media, the way he is in front of the cameras, everything like that, they either end up becoming superstars, or they never make it. Right? They don't pan out. Like, they maybe get a cup of coffee in the show because they were a 3rd overall pick, but they never do anything. What are your thoughts on Kevin McGonigal? I think he's done really well so far. But again, I'll say this, like high A, the biggest jump in minor league baseball is from high A to double A. The stuff, at least it was when I played, it could be different now. But when I played, the jump from high A to double A, there wasn't much in terms of like how much better a pitcher's guys were as far as command and, knowing how to mix things up and knowing how to attack a hitter. That jump happens from double A to triple A. But the stuff jump from high A to double A was like, it was so much better. In my first like 25 games in double A, I really struggled. And then all of a sudden I made the adjustment, I figured it out, and I finished my second half of 2014 was my first half in double A. I hit like 283 or 284 in the Southern League, which was like the worst offensive league in the minor leagues. So like it was like hitting probably 20 points higher in a lot of the other leagues. We passed on Wyatt Langford for him. It's just excuse me. Man, this pollen is like destroying me. We passed on Wyatt Langford for him. It's just a fan in me that wants him to succeed. Yeah. No, I get it. And again, I think he's performance-wise for a kid his age, he's done well. Right? He hasn't killed it. He certainly hasn't been like 3rd overall type pick numbers yet, but he's done fine, which is a good thing for a kid that young. In my opinion, if they can't get anyone power 4 proven, they'll hire JR. But like then, Dusty, my question is, who are you getting from the power 4? Right? You're not getting anyone from the SEC. You're not getting anyone from, the ACC, I don't think. Or anyone that you would want from the ACC. And So you're talking Big 10, you're talking Big 12 coaches, head coaches that are maybe looking to jump to the ACC. Top end ACC SEC is equal to high A. Yeah, I would say like you're at. I think like you're like on a good team in the ACC, your Saturday starter is like kind of looks like a typical high A starter, right? On a good on one of like the top, like in the top half of the ACC, so like the top 8 teams, you feel pretty good about it. You feel pretty good about the fact that their Saturday guy could pitch in on Saturday in high A. You think Chris Pollard would leave Duke for Georgia Tech? I don't think so, man. I don't think it's like, I don't think you leave Duke to go to Georgia Tech. It seems like it's a very, again, maybe you would. I think again, like with what he's built at Duke, I just think it's like a kind of a risk to go to a new program. But again, with what he's done at Duke, you could also say like he may feel like, man, I can do even more at Georgia Tech, because Duke still has, even with what Duke Pollard's done, like Duke still has those things going against it, like the super high academic standards, the fact that it's a private school, so it's really expensive. So maybe maybe that is what is being thought about right now. And so maybe and then is there anyone in the Big Ten, right? Obviously we've talked about Fitzgerald as well. Like Dusty, you don't think Dan Fitzgerald would be like a candidate? I mean, because Kansas is Big 12, right? So Pollard was my top choice for Miami before we hired JD. You know what? One thing is, one thing about it, Zach, is like, I don't know if Pollard would have taken the job at Miami. I don't know if he would have. I sent that before Zach said that, by the way. I believe you. Do you see JUCO becoming more elite as more players attempt to retain their eligibility? Yeah, you know what? It's a good question, baseball. I'm just going to call you 505. So it's a good question because it all hinges on what eventually happens in the coming year to the eligibility. Because right now, again, a lot of these court cases are still going on. People are winning them. Some people are losing them. And so ultimately, it's a matter of like there's going to have to be a regulation made that is just encompasses all JUCO, right? Because now they've given an extra year of eligibility to these guys. Like, why do the guys coming into junior college not get it as well? It's going to happen. It just matter. It depends on, all right, how many years of eligibility do you retain? Is it 1 or 2? Because that's a big difference. If it's 2, JUCO will become way more elite. If it's 1, I think JUCO still becomes more elite because you feel like you can go there, get experience, track record, and then transfer, and you still have 4 years of eligibility. Rick Heller, Iowa. I don't see that one, Zach. I don't see that one. I think Iowa's been fine, but I don't think that's where you go if you're Georgia Tech. Fitzgerald is a 0% option. Next. Okay. All right. Okay. Interesting, Dusty. You don't want a proven pitching guy at the helm? Again, I think we, you guys know where I stand on it. Like I think from from what I know about what they're looking to do with the next head coach, like I think it's James Ramsey. Like everything I'm hearing is like, if everything I'm hearing is right, then it's like it's James Ramsey's your best option. And that's a really good option. Like it's not just like, oh, that's the only thing you can get. It's just like that's the best option. Pollard for Georgia Tech feels cozy. If so, who would you want, JR or Pollard? I think this is what I think the decision would hinge on this. I think with JR, I think what you get with him, again, you just don't know what he will be as a head coach. You know the offense is going to be elite. He's going to recruit. Who he makes up the rest of his staff with, like that's going to be a major thing. Like, does he have people that really know what they're talking about around him? And I think James has maybe the potential to be a elite head coach. Like that potential is there. He's got charisma. He's got that. But then again, it's the unknown of he's never been a head coach. With Pollard, you feel like the program's going to be in really good hands, right? And he's got a higher floor, but the question is, how high is his ceiling, right? Because Duke's been much better, but they still haven't, they haven't reached the mountaintop. And the goal for every program is to get to the mountaintop. It's not to be competitive. So that I think that's where a lot of the decision would hinge on. What about Mitch Hanna's at USF? Built an elite program at Indiana State and is doing a hell of a job at USF. I think in that cat, I think with that, you just go with Ramsey. Again, in my opinion, because he's dominated recruiting in Georgia. Again, he's got one thing at Georgia Tech, to get to be number one team at Georgia Tech, you have to dominate recruiting in Georgia because Georgia has, look at all the recruits that are getting picked out of Georgia from Tennessee and from other big programs. Like Georgia's a hotbed. If you can dominate Georgia, you will be a top 5 team. Like that's got to be strategy number one. Like strategy number one has to be like every best player in the state comes here. And how do you do that? I don't know, but you have to figure it out. So it seems like James Ramsey then. Just trying to throw other names out. I have no insight, but feels like Ramsey is 95% going to be the next head coach. Yeah, I think 95% to me feels a little high, only because like I thought with not 100% certainty, but I thought like maybe 65% chance it would get announced before the series against Stanford. So with that not happening, I think it's definitely not 95%. I still think he's the favorite. I still think he's the favorite, but it's not at 95%. Like maybe it's 70. Maybe a guy's really gonna have to come in and really blow their minds to like out win the job over Ramsey. So who would you pick, JR or Pollard? I think you go with James, and the reason being is, again, one thing these young players, these young guys coming up, one thing they really really like is, and again, it doesn't mean you just hire young coaches, but they really 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 prefer younger coaches, and that is just a fact. You look at some of the coaches in the league and the hot up and coming coaches and the guys like even Tony Vitello when he was hired was young. He had a younger staff. Besides Frank Anderson. And then you look at, Rob Vaughn, and you look at, some of these other guys. And that one thing with James, like if he becomes a really good head coach, like you could have the potential to have him there forever, right? To be, a 30-year coach, again, as rare as that is. And I'm not saying that's what he would be, but with Pollard, you feel like, again, he's young, but is he getting to that point where like his ceiling is not going to be as high as you think? That's why I'm saying it's far from 100%. Guys like Pollard are going to be putting in for it. Yeah. I mean, think about this, Dusty. How many head coaches' agents? Because all these head coaches now have agents. So how many of these head coaches' agents called Jay Batt within minutes of that tweet and announcement, or even before that, when rumored that those guys know when things are going down? It's going to be a nationwide search. Okay, so if it's going to be a nationwide search, in my mind, that means like for Georgia Tech, like pretty big money's on the table. If that's the case. Right, because you can't say nationwide search and we're not going to pay that well. Because it's not really nationwide. Nationwide means we're looking for the best. Well, Dusty, give us your top 4 candidates. Yeah, Dusty, give us your top 4 candidates. And rank them in likelihood of getting the job. Where's Buck tonight? That's what I want to know. Where's Buck at? Watching Arizona State now. Yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna pull that one up. It's not even 11 o'clock. I feel like it's like midnight. Dusty, top 4 candidates, rank them in order of likelihood of getting the job. So I want your number 1 pick. I want your number 2. I want your number 3. And I want your dark horse sleeper. Why is it buffering? Why is my stream? Oh, Arizona's winning 5-0. Is Arizona State already at full scholarships, or does that go into effect next year? That's for as soon as the ruling gets approved, which I think is like any day now. Like if it gets approved or not, I think it's any day, unless I missed it, but I don't think I did. Curious what Arizona State's recruiting class looks like and where it ranks. Let me see if I can find out. My keyboard over here is. So if you don't know, like, so I have a desk right where the monitor I'm looking at is, where I see you guys on the stream, and like my keyboard is attached to my PC that's all the way over there, so it like barely reaches over here. I had a wireless one and it broke, so I have to use a corded one right now, and so it's all like weird angled and stuff. But I'm gonna see if I can find it. Let's see. James Ramsey, Pollard, Godwin, Mead. Okay. Cliff Godwin? I don't think Cliff Godwin's always on every list, and I just don't think he ever wants to leave where he is. I just don't think he does. I think he loves where he is. Like he's built a legend there. They sell out every night. He's got I think he's got a lifetime contract, or basically pretty much is. And so I don't think he would ever leave unless it was for like an exorbitant amount of money. Right? If he got like a Tony Vitello type contract, maybe he leaves, but until then, I don't think he does. But I honestly think it's, I would order it the exact same. JR, Pollard, and then just without Godwin and put Mead. I think those are the most likely. Because Dan Fitzgerald, just regionally, he's been LSU, he's been Texas, Louisiana State for like a year, and then Kansas. So he really hasn't. Again, he's recruited guys out of Georgia, but he hasn't like dominated the state, and that's, Skylar Mead was a recruiting coordinator at South Carolina, so he was in Georgia all the time. Dusty is sleeping on Fitzgerald. Honestly, if you put Fitzgerald on the list, I would have him fourth. It would be JR, Pollard, Mead, Fitzgerald. He would be fourth on the list. And not because I don't think he would be a really good coach. It's just because I just again, there's always like a fit with the coach that gets hired. And I just don't see the fit. But you know what? Like, again, the thing that's weird, and I think you guys would have to agree, is that like no one's talking about the coach opening. Like I haven't seen one member of national college baseball media like talk about the head coach, like talk about Georgia Tech baseball's job opening and talked about potential candidates. I haven't seen one major guy in that in the media of college baseball bring it up at all. I haven't seen it at all. Pollard is really interesting. Recruits the same type of guy with academic limits. Yeah. I mean, he there's a fit there, 100%. Like he understands how it works. But again, that's not an advantage for him over James because James has done the same thing. Now you could say maybe Pollard's a little bit is in a more difficult starting point to do it than Georgia Tech is, but he's done more with less than Georgia Tech over the last 10 years. That's fair to say. Kendall Rogers did just tweet, strong response this weekend on the road by Georgia Tech baseball, which clinches a series win over Stanford. On a side note, Stanford has now lost 8 straight ACC contests. Holy cow. I did not know that Stanford has lost 8 straight games in ACC play. So they've been swept 2 weekends prior. I didn't even know. I didn't even really know that. 100%. It's bizarre. That's why it makes me think they're just waiting to name JR the head coach. Yeah, it's like that's the other thing is that he's been notified like who the head coach will be, but they're just like waiting for some reason. But it's just very strange that like across like Perfect Game, D1 baseball, like Baseball America, like no college baseball publication that is semi-popular has written one article about like Georgia Tech, one of the like most historic baseball franchises in college baseball, has a head coach opening, and who's going to be the next head coach? Like no one's even said that. So it does make me wonder what's going on. Because why wouldn't D1 baseball put out a coaching hot board? Yeah, I don't know. They do it for every. That's what I'm saying, Zach. Is like for every other opening, when a retirement's announced, when a firing's done, it's like think about Rice. Rice, it was like there was a hot board, right? And every other time it happens, there's like a hot board the next day. Fitzgerald is a non-fit. I get that, Dusty. Are ASU and Clemson the only schools going to full scholarships? No, I don't think so. But there's a lot. Those are the two that have announced it and it's official. The others, it's kind of hearsay. You're not really sure because schools are being pretty tight about it. Ramsey with Strickland as associate head coach is my call, and I stand on it. Would be really good. Gives JR a soundboard and a chance for Strick to get back into it. Yeah, and you need a good and the thing with Strick is this, and this is why like Strick would be a massive, massive value gain at a coaching position that usually you don't really see much out of it. Like the guys that coach catchers. Like there's some really good ones, but there's some just a lot of very average ones. And Strick's like one of the best in the game at that. As far as like picking up stuff on catchers, like Dusty would like when we were coaching at Georgia Tech, like when we would play Georgia, DH would always say like, "Hey Ren, like keep an eye on Strick. He's gonna find something on our catchers." Like every time. So like I always had to watch him and be like, see if he was like, hey, is he peeking and then saying something? Is he peeking and then saying something? Like he's got it. Have y'all heard it affecting recruiting at Georgia Tech? Are recent still locked in? It hasn't affected it yet. Like I said, I worked with one of their top recruits in the 26 class. He's like a lefty, Colin White, lefty pitcher. He's up to like 95, 6'3", like hammer breaking ball. And he his dad texted me the day it was announced. He was like, "Hey, is Ramsey going to be the next head coach?" And I was like, "I'll let you know as soon as I know." I said, "I think I you know, word around town for the last 3 years has been when DH retires, Ramsey's getting the job. But you just until that's official, you don't know." Have y'all heard it affect? Is he going to make it to campus or get drafted? I think he makes it to campus. The reason I say that again is the the pitchers out of high school to get drafted in the first round. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them have like really good command for a high school kid, and he's got solid command, but I don't think he's there. I think it's a huge part of Tech being as good as they are so far. Strick is a free dugout resource. Yeah. That's kind of the and again, you could say Josh Shulman's done he's done a great job with the base running and I think getting Georgia Tech to do something it's needed to be doing for certainly the last 5 or 6 years is just stealing more bases, because catchers are not that good in college baseball. There's a lot of catchers in college baseball that you can really run on. And then pitchers are just okay at holding runners. Most pitchers nowadays, when I was playing, it was totally different. But one thing you see with a lot of these pitchers is they're not good at holding runners. So again, someone who's good at holding runners, it's not about having a good pickoff. It's they change their timings, they change their looks. You never know exactly when they're going to go home. Right? And so that makes it difficult to get a jump and steal. And nowadays, these guys don't know how to hold runners at all. It's just, you can get the amazing jumps because when he's going to go home. He does the same thing every time. USC is looking good. We'll be good to see them back in the tournament, hopefully. Yeah, I think again, Andy Stankiewicz, what he did at Grand Canyon, it looks like USC is starting to look better and better. I texted JR tonight and he ghosted me. I texted him tonight and he responded. So, So take that, Dust. I gotta listen to this and make sure my man's not waking up. Every once in a while I hear some noise or something. Wait. You think your guy's a first rounder? Laughable. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, I was saying that he's not that guy. I was saying that, for a left-handed pitcher, by the time this time next year, he'll have first round stuff, but he doesn't have the polish yet. He's not there yet. And going to college will really benefit him. I could be wrong, but that's just my take. But no, I did not say he was a first rounder. Arizona State gets one on the board, 5-1 in the 7th. Dude, these West Coast announcers, I hate to say it, but like they are terrible. It's like hard to even listen to it. Like it's so bad. Recent Baseball America podcast said on average it takes 6 years for high school kids to make pros. Thoughts? You mean make it to the big leagues, Barksdale? Because the minor leagues is the pros. So I'm trying to figure out what you mean. You get paid to play in the minor leagues. And a lot of guys make really good money in the minor leagues. But 6 years, yeah. I mean that checks out. And I think again, I mean, a high school kid, unless they were specifically talking about hitters, like think it's a lot easier to make it to the big leagues as a pitcher. And I don't mean easier. I just mean like if you got really good stuff, like first round caliber stuff, like stuff plays. And like most of the time they can figure it out enough to like get a cup of coffee in the big leagues. Well, high school hitters, a lot of high school hitters never make it. So that number is skewed, I think, again, from just like my anecdotal experience of like playing with some high school players. Like the high school pitchers were way more likely to make it to the big leagues than the high school hitters. Yeah, okay. Same grade you put on your guy at Vandy? What do you mean grade? Well, what grade did I put on Shorey at Vandy? I wonder if he pitched tonight. I'm checking. Let's see. Did he pitch again? No, he hadn't. He didn't pitch. He didn't pitch tonight. His numbers are weird, man, because he's got a 7.3 ERA, and he's thrown 7 innings, which is not good. But his opponent's batting average is 185. So, like, I think he just like, I mean, he's given up. He's given up some damage, but like it's like he's given up 1.8 hits per 10 batters, but like they're all extra bases. What about John Sheck for the Georgia Tech job, or he doesn't fit? It's one of those where I just don't think it. I don't think it fits. What's crazy is like the changes made at Vandy for coaching last year or last summer was a lot about like the hitting not doing great, and not hitting enough home runs and not hitting for enough average, and like they're doing the same thing this year. Vandy, listen to this, guys. Vandy in 31 games. Dusty. Vandy, I'll get to that in a second. Vandy in 31 games has 26 home runs and is hitting 270 as a team. I'm not making you check. I'm not Why would I make it up? It's on. I'm reading it off the PDF. Like, it's the most fact checkable thing you could say. Like, why would I just make it up? Yeah, 7.3 ERA, but he's got a 185 opponent batting average. So I don't know. I still think he's going to be really good. I hate that he's not getting a lot of innings right now. You know, and there was I'm not gonna say it. If I was y'all, I would swing for the fences, Josh Elander. The problem, dude, do you know how much Elander is going to have to get paid to come to Georgia Tech? He's probably one of, if not the highest paid assistant coaches in the country. Like, I think it's you can say with pretty high certainty that he's the highest paid assistant coach in the country. Right? And A&M's pitching coach is making $700,000. Jason Kelly. So, but Elander is probably waiting for an SEC job. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would have to be SEC, but I think Elander with Georgia Tech, I think he definitely would think about it. But again, it's like in my mind, it's almost really hard to leave Tennessee for Elander. Not because, again, I do think he really wants to. I do think he wants to be a head coach, but at the same time, if you're thinking about like security for your family and just overall risk mitigation, taking a head coaching job is a massive risk when you're the highest paid assistant coach in the country. And again, I don't know that for sure, and maybe it's not true, but he's certainly up there. And like, you're going to have to pay him a lot to get him to leave. Right? Because he's making more than most head coaches in Division I baseball. Like, the vast majority of them. And he's making more than some Power 4 head coaches. In all reality. So it's not that like he would be. I think he would do a great job. He's done a great job recruiting Georgia. Just say you were wrong. Never. I can't be wrong because we have to watch his whole career before we can really know. There's plenty of guys that have, less than desirable freshman years and then have a great sophomore year. Especially with pitchers. I mean, look what Brad Markey did, and how bad was he our freshman year? Like, he pitched in AAA, man. He was good. Elander is also probably going to want full scholarships and NIL money. Yeah, again, like he's not going to leave. Like, the machine they've built at Tennessee, unless things start to go like all of a sudden they start not being like a top 5 program, top 10 program every year, unless that changes, like, the machine they've built, it's just like there's so much security there, right? Like, again, because these guys, it's not just about being a head coach and like doing that to do it. Like, Elander's got kids, he's married, like, he's been with the same girl since when I played with him in pro ball. Like, he's not going to make when he's like sitting pretty in Tennessee, like, he's not just going to leave. So I think it's got to be like just a top tier opportunity. I think I'm gonna give it like 5 or 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna take it to the house. But big game tomorrow for Pitt, or for Miami, Freudian slip. It is a big game for Pitt too. but it's a bigger game for Miami and a big game for Georgia Tech, right? If you get another sweep, I mean, you're in serious control of your destiny. I mean, you are in the driver's seat to become a national seed. In all reality, right? You know, you get to 11-4 in the ACC. You're halfway home and you're at 11-4. To get to 18 wins, you just have to go 7-8. To get to 19 wins, you got to go 8-7. Like, you got to play 500 ball with one win. Right? So if they get a sweep tomorrow, like, if they play 500 ball the rest of the way, they're probably not a national seed, but they're a host. Wake is winning the series tomorrow against FSU. Yeah, I mean, dude, with the way they played today, I mean, I don't know. Link Jarrett's really good though, man. Like, he's really good he's really good at getting his team relocked in. Shorey to portal soon. He's going to be paying ESA. Oh, shut up, Dusty. There's still plenty of time this year. And you know how it is. You get one opportunity and you do a good job, and then you're going to get another opportunity, and then all of a sudden, like, you show some consistency, you're in there. Vandy will sweep Florida and Texas will sweep Georgia. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, it's almost like you can almost take it to the bank that Florida will lose tomorrow, because now they're 1-10 in the SEC. Right? So, like, they're in terrible shape, and in most cases in that dugout, they probably all think like they don't have any chance of making the NCAA tournament now. So, like, that deflating effect is going to impact them tomorrow. Like, if they lose tomorrow, well, let's just say today they're 1-10. They got 19 games left. Like, to get to 13 wins, they have to go, what, 12-7? To get to 13 wins, they got to go 12-7. Good luck. If they lose tomorrow, they got to go 12-6 to get to 13 wins. So they got to literally win if they lose tomorrow, they have to win every single series remaining to get to 13 wins. Sully is suspended tomorrow also, I think. Yeah, well, yeah, because he got ejected. I hate that. I hate that too. That's the dumbest rule they've done, is make it to where if the head coach gets ejected, he's suspended for the next game. Like, if it's one thing if it's egregious and like all that, and like, and I mean egregious, like, you know, when you get thrown out of a game, it's because you said something kind of egregious, but you know what I mean, just like, you know, some tirade that just like delays the game for 10 minutes. Because that you know, historically that was a tactic that managers and head coaches would do. Like, DH would do that like a decent amount of times every season. You know, you're down 2 or 3 runs and you find a play to like just amp your team up and like let them know that you have let them know you have their back, and it works, man. And you can't do that now because you get suspended for the next day, so you can't impact the next day's game, which is crazy. All right, going to bed. Night, boys. All right, see you, Dust. Looks like there was a little yelling match between Kentucky and Ole Miss after the game tonight. All right, boys. I'll head out as well. It's been a good night. Thanks for joining me. We'll probably do one tomorrow. But we'll see. All right, just stay tuned. Just keep your eyes out. You know if I go live,